Hello, students at Bennettsville Intermediate School. My name is Dr. Carolyn Prince, Mayor, City of Bennettsville. Last week, your principal, Mrs. Hummer, challenged me to read to you. What she didn't know that reading is one of my favorite hobbies. Today, I'm going to share a book with you about Dr. George Washington Carver, who was also a gardener. As you can see, I'm sitting in the yard at my garden and I have lots of flowers blooming. I enjoy gardening. It's a favorite pastime of mine. And being home for the pandemic and the sheltering in, I spent a lot of time working in my garden. So let's get started. In the Garden with Dr. Carver by Susan Grinsby. I'll never forget the Sunday that we stepped out of church and saw an old mule waiting beside a funny looking wagon. The man with the wagon was George Washington Carver, the famous plant scientist from Tuskegee University. Dr. Carver was a very famous person, and he went out into the community to share his gardening interests and skills with people and children. Dr. Carver called the wagon his movable school, and it was piled high with plants, tools, and seeds. The adults all gathered around, eager for advice. They had heard about the 20-pound cabbages and the onions as big as a child's head that Dr. Carver had grown on land just like ours. He said plants get from the soil the foods they need to make them grow. But things like cotton were hungry and gobbled up all the good soil in Alabama. So Dr. Carver was showing the people how to make poor soil healthy again. You remember Dr. George Washington Carver from being famous with the sweet potato and the peanut. He took these two crops to make a lot of different useful things: peanut oil, peanut butter, different kinds of paints using the clays from the land, and um, he made different kinds of rubbing oils and other kinds of things from these crops. But for me, the best part of Dr. Carver's visit was that he agreed to stay through Monday to help us with the garden at our school. Who would like to learn to be a plant doctor? Sally raised her hand, so Dr. Carver said, "Why do you think this rose bush is looking so weak when her cousins over by the fence are covered in beautiful roses?" So there's one little poor, lonely rose bush, and the other one's looking all nice and healthy and blooming, just like the rose bush behind me. "I don't know," Sally said. Dr. Carver said, "Listen to the plants and they'll tell you what they need." I thought about what Dr. Carver meant. Maybe it was like listening to the wind or watching the sky to tell the weather. I looked over at the healthy rose, basking in the bright sunlight. Then I looked at my patient, one single rose on an entire bush, all alone in the shade. "I got it," I cried. "My patient needs to be moved to the sunlight so that she can get what she needs to grow and be healthy and make lots of pretty rose blossoms." Dr. Carver showed us how to transplant the rose bush very carefully without damaging the roots, or that she scratched us. So Dr. Carver says, as a child, he used to like to draw pictures of stones and flowers and different bugs and insects and birds in the garden. He made his own paints. So he wanted to know all about the garden. So that's why he would sit quietly watching and listening to nature and drawing. He never knew that the garden was such a busy place. And Dr. Carver had a name for everything. So here's Sally and a friend. She's drawing a picture of some bushes, and the young man on the fence is probably looking for bugs and insects. Boys like bugs and insects. My brother Ben found a big web stretched out like a fishing net on a bush. He was about to hit it with a big stick, but Dr. Carver stopped him and said, "That spider is helping your garden by eating up the creatures that want to eat your plants. Before you change or destroy something, you need to understand why it exists and its relationship with the rest of nature. The plants, the soil, and the animals that visit are all connected just like a web." So sometimes you might see one of these garden spiders. They tend to be very large and have yellow on them. They're beautiful. They won't bite you. They won't sting you. And like Dr. Carver said, they will eat insects. In my vegetable garden, I have a lot of ladybugs. And these ladybugs eat up the bad insects. So it's neat to see the ladybugs crawling all over my broccoli and cabbage and cucumbers and squash. In this garden, dandelions were poking up their sunny heads. Dr. Carver showed the students how the fluff on a dandelion was really a family of hundreds of seeds carried by the wind. They could travel miles before landing and beginning to grow. Have you ever picked a dandelion fluff like this and blew on it and see all the little pieces floating off in the air? Well, those are seeds that they talked about in the story. And where they land, they will germinate and grow new plants. You can also eat dandelions. So a weed is just a plant that's growing in a place where it's not wanted. And these dandelions were taking food, light, and water from the flowers that our teacher had planted. Dr. Carver showed us how to remove the dandelions by pulling up their long, hungry roots, and we saved their youngest leaves for our lunchtime salad. Dr. Carver said we should all eat all kinds of fruits and vegetables as much as we can. So by then, they had a picnic lunch using the recipes that Dr. Carver gave for using sweet potatoes. They made sweet potato flour bread and different things with peanuts. And they had a salad with the young dandelion leaves. Dessert was peanut ice cream and cake. Strange flavors, but they probably taste very delicious. After our feast, Dr. Carver said it was time to plant our own kitchen garden. The spot is no good. It's sunny, but the soil is rock hard. Nothing will grow here. Dr. Carver said, "That's right. This is poor soil, but I'm going to show you how to make this soil better so you can grow fruits and vegetables and flowers." Dr. Carver took us to a patch of forest near the school. We scooped up buckets of rich, leafy loam and used that to help put in the soil to make it better. We also got mulch from leaves and the decaying roots of peanuts and peas and other vegetables and plants that will help enrich the soil. This is what compost is. It's decomposing plants and vegetable scraps and paper even, anything that will break down and rot and put nutrients back in the soil. So much of what people waste can be put to good use. So if you have a compost pile, or if you'd like to start one, you can Google that on your Chromebook and learn how to use kitchen scraps, potato peelings, or the orange rinds, or other kinds of plants, even eggshells, to make compost and use that to make your garden rich. So here you see the students putting the compost in the bad soil to make it better so that they can have a nice garden. So they went to a dump and they found a mop head and some old castaway clothes. And the boys used those kinds of things to make a scarecrow to put in the garden to keep the birds away. Before he left, Dr. Carver gave our teacher, Miss Simpson, some seeds and some gardening lessons, and he asked that she would take us out every day so that we could work in our garden and make the plants grow. He also said that don't harvest any wild plants that you don't know because some of them are poisonous and they are not safe to eat. So Dr. Carver is getting ready to go. He's sharing seeds and information with the teacher for the students. Some people come in and out of your life as quick as a hummingbird darting at a trumpet vine. And some of them, when gone, leave something behind that sticks in your heart or mind. It sticks to you like a burr on your socks. It wraps around you like the tendrils of a vine. Since that day we spent in the garden of Dr. Carver, whenever I step among flowers, trees, or vegetables, I remember his words. Listen to the plants, and they will tell you what they need. And they do. So here is Sally holding a flower, a daisy, and I have daisy flowers growing in my flower bed also. So I hope you enjoyed this book, In the Garden of Dr. Carver. And now I would like to challenge Mr. Larry McNeil, Chair of Marlboro County School Board, to read to the students. Mr. McNeil, please share your favorite book with the students. Thank you. Happy gardening.